Why we celebrate Good Friday. Good Friday is one of the most significant days in the Christian calendar. Observed on the Friday before Easter Sunday, it commemorates the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. Although it is a solemn and sorrowful day, it is also called Good Friday because of the profound spiritual significance it holds for believers. Christians remember the suffering Jesus endured and the sacrifice he made for the salvation of humanity. The meaning behind Good Friday. At the heart of Good Friday is the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, which is described in all four Gospels in the Bible: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus, who Christians believe is the Son of God, was arrested, tried, and sentenced to death by crucifixion under the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. He was mocked, beaten, and forced to carry his own cross to a hill called Golgotha, where he was nailed to the cross and left to die. For many, the question arises, why did Jesus have to die? According to Christian belief, Jesus' death was not an accident or merely a tragic event. It was part of a divine plan. The Bible teaches that all people have sinned and are separated from God. Because God is holy and just, sin must be punished. However, God is also merciful and loving. To bridge the gap between humanity and himself, God sent his Son, Jesus, to take the punishment on behalf of all people. In this view, Jesus' death was a sacrificial act. By willingly dying on the cross, Jesus paid the penalty for sin so that those who believe in him can be forgiven and have eternal life. This act of selfless love and redemption is why the day is considered good despite the pain and suffering involved. The events leading up to Good Friday. Good Friday is part of what is known as Holy Week, which begins with Palm Sunday, the day Jesus entered Jerusalem to cheering crowds. But within days, the mood changed. Religious leaders saw Jesus as a threat to their authority. They plotted to arrest him, and one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. On the night before his death, Jesus had a final meal with his disciples, known as the Last Supper. It was during this meal that Jesus instituted the practice of communion or the Eucharist, telling his followers to eat bread and drink wine in remembrance of him. Later that night, he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he was arrested. Jesus was then taken through a series of trials, before the Jewish Sanhedrin, then to Pontius Pilate, and also to King Herod. Though Pilate found no fault in him, the crowd demanded crucifixion. Jesus was eventually sentenced to die by one of the most brutal methods of execution used at the time, crucifixion. The crucifixion. On Good Friday, Jesus was nailed to the cross around 9 a.m. He hung there for 6 hours, enduring physical agony and emotional torment. During this time, he spoke 7 phrases, known as the 7 last words of Christ, which include words of forgiveness, assurance, love, and surrender. Among them were, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing," and "It is finished," signifying that his mission to save humanity was complete. At about 3 p.m., Jesus died. At that moment, several supernatural events occurred, including a great earthquake, the tearing of the temple curtain, and darkness covering the land. These signs emphasized the cosmic significance of Jesus' death. The burial and what comes next. After his death, Jesus' body was taken down from the cross and buried in a tomb owned by a wealthy follower, Joseph of Arimathea. A large stone was rolled in front of the entrance, and Roman guards were posted to keep watch. But Good Friday is not the end of the story. According to Christian belief, Jesus did not stay dead. On the 3rd day, Easter Sunday, he rose from the dead, conquering sin and death. This resurrection is the foundation of Christian faith and the reason Easter is celebrated with such joy and hope. Why it's called Good Friday. Given the suffering and death Jesus endured, some may wonder why this day is referred to as Good Friday. The word good in this context is understood in the sense of holy, pious, or beneficial. It is good because it led to the resurrection of Jesus and the promise of eternal life for believers. Without Good Friday, there would be no Easter Sunday. The goodness lies in what Jesus' death achieved. It opened the way for reconciliation between God and humanity, provided the ultimate example of sacrificial love, and fulfilled ancient prophecies about the coming of a Messiah. How Good Friday is observed. Good Friday is observed differently across various Christian traditions, but the tone is generally somber and reflective. Many churches hold special Good Friday services, which often include readings from the Gospel accounts of the Crucifixion, prayers, silent reflection, and hymns. Some traditions observe the Stations of the Cross, a devotional walk that recalls the different moments on Jesus' path to crucifixion. In some places, people fast or abstain from certain foods as a way to honor Jesus' suffering. Others attend reenactments of the Passion of Christ, where actors portray the events of Good Friday to help people connect emotionally and spiritually with what happened. Good Friday's relevance today. Even in modern times, Good Friday remains deeply relevant. It serves as a powerful reminder of love, sacrifice, and redemption. It challenges individuals to think about their own lives, actions, and beliefs. It's a call to humility and gratitude for the price Jesus paid. In a world that often feels broken and full of suffering, Good Friday speaks to the human experience of pain and loss. Yet it also brings hope, that suffering is not the end, and that new life is possible. Conclusion. Good Friday is not just a historical remembrance. It is a day that holds deep spiritual meaning for millions around the world. It is a day to reflect on the profound love of Jesus Christ, who gave his life so that others might live. Though it is marked by sorrow and mourning, it ultimately points to the joy of Easter and the victory of life over death. By remembering and honoring Good Friday, Christians acknowledge the cost of salvation and the depth of God's love. It is a day that forever changed history, and continues to change lives.